If you've ever screamed into a pillow after calling the VA, this episode is for you. Because let's be real, navigating VA benefits can feel like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, underwater, while someone reads you the instruction in another language. Welcome back to another episode of the Caregivers Lounge. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Caregivers Lounge, where we sip truth, spill tea, and speak life into the folks doing the most behind the scenes. I'm your host, Shaunté Newby, and today we're diving into a topic that's equal parts confusing, frustrating, and if you play your cards right, life-changing. We're talking about VA benefits, and if you don't know what VA benefits are, then this doesn't apply to you. But for those that don't know, VA is Veterans Affairs. So let's talk about the benefits that they don't advertise, the ones you only find out about after 3 denied claims, 2 emotional breakdowns, and 1 very helpful stranger in a Facebook group. I say this with love and lived experience. My dad is a veteran, and like many caregivers, I've spent time trying to decode the VA system, filing paperwork, asking questions, and wondering if I needed a law degree just to get a straight answer from anyone. So today, I'm breaking down some of the lesser known benefits, the eligibility quirks that trip people up, and how you, yes, you, can advocate more effectively for your loved one and even yourself if you're a vet. And if you are a vet, thank you for your service. So let's start with some of the ones you might already know about, either because someone mentioned them at a VA clinic or you stumbled across them during a late night Google spiral. I do that in the middle of the night. I get one topic in mind and I start searching, and next thing you know, I'm looking up something in another world. So the first one that you may know about is called aid and attendance. This one is a monthly payment that's added to a veteran's pension if they need help with daily activities like bathing, dressing, or eating. It's meant to offset caregiving costs, whether that's in-home support, assisted living, or in a nursing facility. But here's the catch. You have to apply for it. And the paperwork is not for the faint of heart. Now, you may have heard about CHAMPVA. This is health insurance for spouses and dependents of certain disabled veterans. It can help cover medical costs, prescriptions, and even mental health services. But eligibility is tricky. It's not the same as TRICARE, and not every veteran qualifies. So yes, it's helpful if you can get it. So another one that you may be familiar with is the VA Caregiver Stipend. This is part of the program of comprehensive assistance for family caregivers. If you're the primary caregiver for a veteran with a serious service-connected injury, you may be eligible for a monthly payment, training, and even respite care. But again, there's a whole process to get approved, and it's not exactly intuitive. So think emotional obstacle course with paperwork. Now, let's talk about the benefits they don't exactly shout from the rooftops. I actually learned a lot in preparing for this episode that I need to dig into myself, so I'm going to share with you what I learned. So these are the ones that are buried in the PDFs. They are whispered about in support groups or discovered by accident when someone says, "Wait, you didn't know about that?" So the first one is veteran-directed care. This program is a game changer. It gives eligible veterans a budget to manage their own care, including hiring family members as paid caregivers. That's right. You can get compensated for the work you're already doing. It's flexible, empowering, and tailored to the veteran's needs, but it's not available everywhere, and you have to ask for it specifically. That's definitely one I want to look into because it sounds like that is slightly different from the VA caregiver stipend. So I definitely plan on digging into that to see if we are eligible for that as well. So the next one is HISA grants, or maybe they call it HISA, I'm not sure, but it stands for Home Improvements and Structural Alterations. So this is if your loved one needs modifications to live safely at home, like a wheelchair ramp, widened doorways, or a roll-in shower. This grant can help cover the cost. It's not flashy, but it's practical, and it can make a huge difference in quality of life. So the next one is about respite care. So the VA does offer respite care, but you'd never know it from how hard it is to find. Depending on your eligibility, you may be entitled to a few hours or even days of relief. This could mean in-home help, adult daycare, or short-term stays in a facility. It's not always consistent, but it's worth asking about. The next one is about travel reimbursement. Did you know caregivers can sometimes get reimbursed for driving veterans to medical appointments? I didn't either until someone casually mentioned it while we were both waiting in the VA. It's called beneficiary travel. And while it's mostly for veterans, there are exceptions. Ask, always ask. And I know for us, the VA is not that far from him. So I don't think we were eligible for any kind of reimbursement, but I know if we had to travel to other locations, we could get reimbursement. So, another one that comes up is the VA Caregiver Support Line. This is not a benefit in the financial sense, but emotionally, it sounds like it's gold. You can call, vent, ask questions, or just hear a human voice that understands. They'll even help you navigate programs and connect you with a local coordinator. So these aren't just perks, they're lifelines, but you have to know they exist and you have to be persistent. The VA isn't hiding them maliciously, but they're not exactly handing out treasure maps to them either. So now here's where it gets spicy. Let's talk about eligibility, the quirks of eligibility, if you will. Service connected status matters a lot. Primary caregiver isn't just a label, it's a designation that unlocks benefits. VA healthcare and VBA benefits are two different beasts. Don't let the acronyms fool you. One handles medical care, the other handles compensation and pensions. And yes, they sometimes contradict each other. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, here's what helps: learn the VA's language. For instance, activities of daily living is code for I help my loved one shower, dress, and eat. There's also the recommendation of using a VSO or a veteran service officer. They're free, they're trained, and can save you hours of frustration. And this is definitely a good resource if you or your loved one is not very technical. Because if you are technical, I would recommend filing things online because I've done it now 2 times, and online is the way to go. You just have to be responsive. So you fill out the paperwork online, and when they ask you for things, you respond and get them what they need as fast as you can. So, but if you aren't that technically savvy or persistent on your own, you can use this resource called a VSO. Also, document everything. Keep a folder, make copies, screenshot emails. The VA loves a paper trail. Definitely important, because when it's time to prove something or dispute something, having that documentation is vital. Don't be afraid to appeal things. Denials are common, but reversals do happen, especially when you push back with clarity and that documentation that I mentioned. Sometimes it feels like the VA, I think for some people, it feels like insurance almost, where they try to do everything they can not to pay a claim. And then once they realize, yes, they have to, they do it. So sometimes it does feel like you're getting that resistance. But at the end of the day, when you have your documentation and you can clarify what you are pushing back about, 9 times out of 10, it may turn around for you. So look, I know this stuff isn't sexy. It's definitely not fun, but it is necessary. And if you're a caregiver to a vet, you deserve support, not just in spirit, but in services. So if this episode helped you, share it. If you've got a VA win or a horror story, send it in. And if you're still stuck in the paperwork vortex, know this: you're not alone and you're not crazy. You're just dealing with the VA. Thanks for hanging out in the Caregivers Lounge. Until next time, take care of yourself like you take care of everyone else. Don't forget, you can drop comments or send an email to caregiverslounge@icloud.com. We'd love to hear your story.